All right, everyone. The Vermont state government is open up to suggestions for what to do for like the outdoor economy sort of stuff. The idea of like beautification and some of these other things. Because remember, we're a tourist state. So a lot of our money comes from, hey, people came, they looked at weird shit, like they looked at snow. Maybe they went in the snow briefly before they realized it was cold. They're like from Florida or something. They went in the snow for a little bit, or they looked at the leaves change color. Maybe they went mudding or something. Who knows? And then they, of course, they have to stay at a motel potentially. They go out to eat, and they spend all their warm weather tourist cash up here wandering around the snowy mountains or something. So outdoor things are important to the state's economy in many ways. I would say probably the biggest thing we would do, here's my suggestion. Simple beautification along some of our roads and paths and stuff. Right now, the inner city so-called areas, like the actual townships themselves, where people are going to the motel, where they're going to eat, are kind of dilapidated. A lot of, especially things like roads and sidewalks. We need to figure out some way to fix those. I would say we should divert money to these things, break the monopolization locally that we have taking care of the roads, and it'll be a little bit cheaper. Improve the amount of money that we're spending on it, the amount of manpower, divert it from elsewhere. I'm sure that we can find some waste, fraud, and abuse to cut in a state as bureaucratic and legalistic as Vermont is. And there are certainly let's just cut a bunch of other bureaus to pay for it. That should be what we do. So that would be step one. Step two, encouraging people to garden. That would be something that would be attractive. I may be slightly biased here because, of course, I like gardening, so I like flowers and vegetables and stuff. But it is something, it does beautify. It gives everything an aura of cleanliness, you know, at least during the warmer months. The state itself or the townships could do this. Why don't you have a competition between all the major sort of seats in the state? Do this yearly. Have a competition, be like, they'll be creating like floral displays within their actual downtown areas. Like people can join in, they can get some materials and go to town basically and do like color schemes or something. Like, oh, this year's theme is purple and white. This year's theme is tall and short. Something like that. And you could have these contests, and that would be interesting both for the people that live here and potentially beneficial. It also might create a tourist draw. When you really think about it, people might literally come from some distance to see the actual displays. They might stay in the state longer because then they see one, they're like, oh, this is pretty, I want to see all the others. You could put it online, you could use that for tourism as well. Online is a big thing now. It's not like maybe 10 years ago. Your state had a website, that's about it. Now, social media users alone can be a huge draw. So I think that would be something that would be worth looking into. Certainly. But beautifying things and making sure that people can, number one, drive where they need to go. Number two, walk around where they have gone. Those would be important too. And right now, in some parts of the state, things are simply dilapidated. You look at White River Junction's roads, for example, other than the highway, which I believe is state-funded completely anyway. Rutland's sidewalks and traffic lights. Parts of Burlington. On the main drag, it looks fairly nice. You go to the downtown, like the Pearl Street to Church Street area. Yeah, it's nice and everything's fine. You go a little bit further, like a couple blocks further south than that on the side roads. It basically looks like the roads here. You go to parts of South Burlington, it's relatively nice, but then you go up to Winooski, there are a few dilapidated areas. And that's sort of the Burlington area. Here in Rutland, it's almost all dilapidated when we're talking about the sidewalks, unless it's right on the main road. Because they don't have enough funding to reliably maintain all the curbstones, the sewer system sometimes backs up, the sidewalks themselves, the actual cement blocks that people are walking on, and certainly the roads. We've got other problems as well. In parts of Rutland, the roads are a little bit too thin. They don't quite qualify as 2 lanes. That can be a little bit of a problem when you have side street parking, but nobody has chosen to do anything about this. I think that's something that our new mayor should do, is tell people no side street parking on those technically 1.5 lane roads. Cut down the size of the actual, the little green strip between the curb, you could say. We sort of say both here in Vermont. That's a linguistic trait. between that and the sidewalk, and then you have your 2-lane road. Or you can have a single lane and make it one way, that's fine too, and have a row of parking. Something like that. Make things more mobile so people can actually get around. Right now you have a minor traffic accident, everything's snarled up for, 20, 30 minutes. It's absolutely ridiculous. No wonder tourists are going to get pissed off. They have a bad experience. Maybe they don't come back to our state. Maybe they go to Colorado. Maybe they go to New Hampshire. Maybe they go up to Maine to see Stephen King and some moose. So we need to keep that in mind as well. That's about all. Peace out.